Welcome to this explainer of a really charming Pixar-style fable about a village of vegetables facing a sudden, terrifying storm. Today, we're going to break down this highly creative story to uncover some surprisingly profound, real-world lessons about disaster management, community action, and raw courage. Let's explore exactly how this little story packs such a huge educational punch.
But before we meet the characters and the heavy rain starts falling, I want you to think about this very direct question. In a crisis, what will you do? Are you going to run away or will you face it head on? Honestly, it's the ultimate test of character. This story uses an overwhelming natural disaster to put its cast of vegetables through exactly that test. It really asks us to consider our own human nature, or, vegetable nature in this case, when the pressure is suddenly on, time is running out, and literally everything we value is on the line.
Okay, let's dive right into Section 1, Characters and the Storm.
Before disaster strikes, let's get to know the locals. First up, we have Aloo, the potato. He's wise, he's fair, and crucially for what's about to happen, the guy actually knows a thing or two about routing floodwater. Right beside him is Gobhi, the cauliflower. She's his incredibly supportive wife who absolutely isn't afraid to get her hands dirty filling sandbags. Then there's Gajar, the carrot, their young daughter, who ends up playing a vital role in guiding everyone to safety. But every good story needs some contrast, right? Enter Baingan Seth, the eggplant. He's the wealthy elite of the village, but he's cowardly, greedy, and just entirely selfish. Finally, we've got Seth, the pumpkin, who serves as the village chief judge and ultimately just wants his community to be safe. Keep these distinct personalities in mind because how they react under extreme pressure is the whole focus of our analysis today.
Now, I want you to notice just how insanely fast this situation escalates. The source material maps this out in mere seconds just to emphasize the terrifying suddenness of the disaster. Between 0 and 8 seconds, right after a long drought, dark, heavy storm clouds suddenly cover the sky. Strong winds start bending the trees, lightning flashes. It's an immediate, drastic shift in the atmosphere. Then from 8 to 16 seconds, the heavy rain hits. It's pouring down so fast that water rapidly fills the village streets, the mud roads, and actually begins submerging the agricultural fields. By the 16 to 24-second mark, the floodwaters are rising dangerously close to their small vegetable houses. The threat isn't just a distant weather warning anymore. It is literally at their doorsteps. It's a perfect visual representation of a crisis where every single second counts.
Which brings us to Section 2, Cowardly Baingan versus Brave Aloo.
Now, what's really interesting here is how perfectly the story contrasts fear and leadership when things go wrong. Look at Baingan Seth. As the water splashes aggressively around his feet, the guy is absolutely terrified. But instead of helping his neighbors, his greed just takes total control. He actually grabs a massive sack of gold coins, throws it over his shoulder, and abandons the village entirely, running away into the heavy rain. He chooses his wealth over his community. But then, contrast that with Aloo. Amidst the exact same chaos, Aloo steps up. He stands elevated on a wooden crate in the pouring rain, firmly holding a wooden shovel, and confidently shouts orders to gather the terrified community together. He isn't running away, he's actively taking charge. It's just this brilliant contrast between a coward, fleeing with his money, and a brave leader stepping up to protect his people.
Let's move on to Section 3, Aloo's emergency plan.
So Aloo's response is an absolute masterclass in swift, tactical disaster management. Step 1 is honestly the most crucial psychological move. He gathers everyone together. Panic naturally isolates people, but Aloo creates instant unity. Step 2 is immediate physical defense. Working as a cohesive unit with his family, his wife Gobhi and little Gajar, they quickly pile up small mud and sandbags. They meticulously build a physical barrier right around the residential area to block the rushing water from hitting the homes. But a wall is only a temporary fix if the water has nowhere to go, and that's where Step 3 comes in. Aloo uses his wooden shovel to dig deep drainage trenches right through the middle of the fields. He literally creates a brand new drainage system on the fly to safely divert all that floodwater away from the houses and the main crops, directing it perfectly into a nearby empty pond. He didn't just build a defensive wall, he solved the root problem by redirecting the threat entirely.
And that leads us to Section 4, New Title and Celebration.
Picture this. The sun rises, the rain has stopped completely, and a beautiful, vibrant rainbow appears in the sky. The village houses and crops are completely safe, dry, and clean. Seeing this incredible feat of survival, the heavy village chief judge, Seth, arrives in his royal clothes, just clapping enthusiastically. With genuine tears of gratitude in his eyes, he gives Aloo a massive hug. And to officially honor his leadership and quick thinking, Gajar Seth presents Aloo with a shiny red helmet, bestowing upon him a brand new, highly honorable title, Disaster Management Head. The entire village square absolutely erupts in celebration, cheering Aloo's name.
And this brilliantly illustrates the long-term aftermath of those split-second choices our characters made under pressure. You have Aloo, celebrated by the entire village. He's standing proudly alongside his family under a sunny sky in that beautiful rainbow, wearing his new honorary badge. The atmosphere around him is warm, proud, and incredibly peaceful. He earned the deepest respect of his community by risking himself for them. But then there's Baingan Seth. The crisis is over, but look at his situation. He's standing entirely alone in a corner, soaking wet and deeply embarrassed by his own cowardly actions. His heavy sack of gold coins couldn't buy him the respect, the pride, or the joy that Aloo earned through bravery and selfless service.
Finally, we wrap up with Section 5, the story's important lesson.
So what is the crucial takeaway here? It's captured perfectly in this powerful quote, "Don't fear hard times, face adversity with wisdom." This story serves as a fantastic reminder that disasters, whether they're natural weather events or personal life crises, are completely inevitable. The dark clouds are eventually going to roll in for all of us. But panicking or running away out of fear and greed like Baingan Seth absolutely never solves the problem. True resilience comes from standing your ground, gathering your community around you, and using your intelligence to actively manage the crisis, just like Aloo did with his carefully dug trenches and strategically placed sandbags. Intelligence and courage combined are for sure the absolute best tools you can wield against any disaster.
So, I want to leave you with this final provocative thought. What is the sudden flood in your own life right now? Because we all face them, right? Unexpected challenges, sudden crises at work, or personal storms at home. When those waters start rising, how are you going to react? Are you going to let fear and self-preservation take over, retreating to protect only yourself? Or are you going to step up on that crate, face the storm head-on, and execute a plan with the wisdom and courage of Aloo? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep these lessons in mind the next time the heavy rains come your way. And I highly encourage you to be the brave, strategic leader your own village needs.